to say that if we were to become vegan, it's obviously just, I know it's gonna lessen our contribution to the whole entire idea, but it's still gonna happen at the end of the day.
Sure. Well, I mean, if everyone took that logic for everything, nothing would change, right?
Yeah, I
But
don't think a lot is really changing.
well, how do you think slavery got
Obviously,
abolished?
Slavery is.
How do you think women got rights? Right?
Yeah.
Imagine if every woman who was going to stand up for women's rights, they said, well, we're still going to be abused anyway, there's no point. Or every man who stood up for women's rights, well, they're still going to be abused by all the other men. I'm not going to say, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean?
I love how it talks.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for coming to talk. My name is Brandon.
I'm Sean.
I'm Haley.
Haley. Okay. Nice talking to you. I'm glad you guys stopped. So you guys want to know why you should be vegan, right? I'm assuming?
Yeah, just curious.
Okay. So first thing, do you mind just sharing what you guys think veganism is?
Not slaughtering animals.
Yeah, not the slaughter of animals and just not
Anything
eating
with faces.
anything. Yeah, with a face or with a life.
Okay.
Uh,
So take whatever you guys think veganism is and just throw it out. All right, this is blank slated, right? Just clear that off. And I'll make this kind of 4th of July theme since, it's Independence Day. So is it okay if I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm assuming since you're out here, you have you believe or you align with the idea of freedom, correct?
Yes.
oh yeah.
Having individual rights. If you're innocent, you should be allowed to live your life freely, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I guess to start, are you either of you vegan or vegetarian or anything?
No, but my
No,
sister is.
But yeah,
Sister?
we know I know his sister.
Okay. So, do you guys believe in freedom for all innocent individuals or selective freedom?
I know where this
For
is
all.
going.
For all,
man.
yeah.
I know.
So, can you think of, well, first off, are you guys on the same page that animals, right, other animals besides humans, can feel, they have a will to live, they're sentient?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, you said freedom for all.
Yeah.
You kind of know where I'm getting at. So can you think of ways in which your actions or what you contribute to directly goes against the freedom for all?
Yes, because it's animals. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
like what?
'cause you're taking away freedom from animals
Right.
if you're gonna kill
Yeah,
them.
you take away their whole entire life just so you can have like a hamburger.
Right, exactly, right? So if you think about it, right, the animals, and so I'll define veganism. So veganism is against the exploitation of animals, right? So that means essentially treating other individuals as if they were objects, as if
Yeah.
they were just resources, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is to a large portion of domesticated animals, because we breed them into existence, right? We control their breeding, we tell them where to go, and then at a fraction of their lifespan, we either use them as milk machines until they're eventually killed, or we just murder them right away, either
Yeah.
bolt gun or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that goes against the idea of freedom?
To the animals, yes.
Yes.
To the animals, okay.
Yes.
So I guess if you guys do think that, like, if you guys do believe in the idea of freedom for all, what is stopping you from, like, extending, because I'm sure you guys want all humans to be free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys don't contribute to any of those actions or any type of exploitation towards humans, right? At
Yeah.
least consciously.
Yeah, of course.
So what would stop you from extending your values of freedom for all to other animals?
Man, you're asking these questions fast. Wait, let me think.
Sure.
Um,
If you have a clarify, I could clarify.
Extending it into animals. Basically, before all the. What about before all the like non-animal made meats were invented?
Sure.
Like, how would we have survived before that?
Yeah. So 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, whatever, before, if we don't even need fake meat, we just need like food security.
Yeah.
Right? So before, hold on. So before food security, we probably couldn't be vegan,
Yeah.
right? We just couldn't,
Yeah.
right? But if you look back 3,000 years ago, there was also slavery. Women
no,
also had
yeah,
no rights,
that's
right?
terrible.
Yeah.
So like, as we get better, our morals should progress as well, right? As we develop more technologies, as we get more aware, as we learn more, we should progress with how we treat others better. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, right? We should. So, to answer your question, no, we probably couldn't be vegan, before there was food security. But why would that stop us from being vegan now?
So what about the costly effect of, I know vegan products cost a lot more than like the average like meat and stuff. Like if you're like in the poor spectrum, and you can't afford that, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, so actually they did a study out of Oxford. So this was looking at first world countries, but that's stuff like, the UK, America, Canada, stuff like that. But vegan diets were approximately 30% cheaper. And the reason for that, so when we're looking at like the best of the best fake meat or like mock meat products, plant-based meat products, those can get more expensive.
Yeah, just because I'm talking about like at a grocery store. Like if you go to a grocery store, like you're gonna just see like that. I don't know, and the more expensive. Same with like more healthy considered food.
Well, so there's two things. Yeah. So there's two things. So the fake meats are actually a lot less expensive when you factor in subsidy, right? So all of the meat, the animal products, they're subsidized by the government, right? So actually there's a great, I gotta get this source on my website, but I'll give you guys a card after. It compared the cost of fake meat to regular meat with the government subsidy for meat, and then the fake meat to regular meat without the subsidy. And without the subsidy, it's actually like 3 times more expensive than fake meat because plants are significantly cheaper. But separate from that, there's whole grains, there's beans, there's nut butters, there's vegetables, there's frozen fruit. All of these things are, especially when we're talking about protein sources, tofu, beans, whole grains, they're significantly less expensive than animal flesh.
That is true. That is a fair point.
So that's how you would navigate it. Like I assure you, I don't make more money than the average person, and I spend $100 on groceries. So.
Yeah. One thing I want to bring up is one thing I don't agree with is like how like you go to like Burger King or McDonald's and you don't know how many cows are in one burger. Mm-hmm. Like they'll the government. I don't know how. I don't know if it's ran by the government or just private farms.
Yeah, factory farming.
Yeah, factory farming. I don't like factory farming just because my dad worked at a chicken farm, and he said that's the way he grew up, and it was like the most abusive like area, just like what was that film with the cows, Fairlife?
Okay.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible.
And why is that terrible?
Because the way they actually like treat the cows and everything, and literally it's like what is it called?
Execution
abuse?
style.
Abuse, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And why is animal abuse why is that bad to you?
Because you're torturing. Like I'm saying like when you're actually like beating the cow up as if the cow has no purpose in life, like that was like the whole film. Like they were just throwing the cows around, and they would keep them in that like 1-by-1 block where they couldn't even turn, like until they die.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, here's the thing. So like 98% of where all the animal products, animal flesh, animal secretions like dairy and eggs, that's how they're treated.
Yeah.
So it's factory farming. So I would say that like just practically speaking, if you're against that, you should probably already be vegan. But if you're saying that like, okay, I can recognize that these animals deserve enough moral consideration to not be beat up, right?
Yeah.
Because they can feel pain, they're individuals.
Yeah.
Then what's stopping you from just going the little extra mile and saying, okay, you know what? I recognize they're individuals, they're animals, they feel pain, they have a will to live. Let's not slit their throat at all. Let's not kill them at all.
Plants don't feel pain?
Correct, plants do not feel pain.
I know plants don't feel pain, but okay, so I was gonna say, what about farm? Like if you were to shop at like a farm, like.
Well, that was my question next, yeah, because you guys are recognizing that animal abuse is wrong, right? Hitting them, keeping them tight cases. So wouldn't you say that even if they had the best 6 years of their life, which they're all killed so cows can live up to 20, they're usually slaughtered at like 6, no, I think it's like a year and a half actually. So we're talking like baby age.
Yeah, they're different lifespans than us.
Right, so even if they had the best 2 years of their life, do you think it aligns with freedom, or do you think it's morally right to slit their throat?
Well, this is kind of like, I don't know, a subject, but people eat humans too, and like I feel like that's.
You think that's wrong?
That's definitely terrible, but like I don't know where like.
So why is eating humans wrong?
Because I don't think eating. I don't know. You know.
Think about it. Think like why when you have.
I don't think eating anything with emotions is like right,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, how I was raised, that's what we ate.
Sure. Look, I come from I'm first generation American. I come from a Russian family. No, I hear you.
Russian family?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
And so for 18 years of my life, We ate beef, we ate chicken, we ate pretty much every animal product under the sun you could think of we had in our house, right? But the reason why I went vegan is because I couldn't answer the question, right? I want to see freedom and I want to see rights for humans. I'm against all of these awful things for humans.
Yeah, of course.
Why is there a differentiation in treatment as soon as the species changes?
Well, think about it. We didn't kill people to survive and eat them. We didn't. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Actually, with war and everything,
have
we
done
did.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm saying we didn't kill people to eat them to survive as the majority. I mean, maybe a couple criminals did. But one thing we did do to survive and actually be here where we are today is eat meat. Like, without the process of eating meat, we wouldn't be where we are.
And that's a fair point, but like we discussed earlier, right? There's a lot of things that were done for thousands and thousands of years, right? Somebody can make the same argument about slavery. Look at where we are. You know, somebody could say, well, if we didn't have slavery, we wouldn't have the boost in economy, we wouldn't have the free labor, we wouldn't have built the country.
Yeah.
That's not really a justification to continue doing it. In fact, what I would say is, okay, let's look at that time and say, okay, yeah, that's true. Maybe it benefited us in some way at that time, but we gotta stop immediately. We can't never do that again because we recognize it as wrong. You know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely, that makes sense.
So you know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
I was just gonna ask. So like again, you know, when we're thinking about like, because it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you guys kind of understand and connect with the idea of veganism, right? The fact that
Yeah, no, I
They should
definitely
be-
connect.
1,000,000%.
I just think there's other ways to do it, and like 99.99% of the meat that's consumed in America is completely different than other countries, and in other countries they do it in a way different process of rather than like abuse and everything to the animals. And
I hate to break it to you, man. There's been UK investigations. There's
I'm not talking about European. I'm
Okay.
talking about, in general, European countries kind of follow America now, and I'm just talking about other like Asian cultures and everything. Any culture that is basically not a government-bought farm that's like paying for these animals to be bought in litters of like thousands and tens thousands and just be all treated the same way. I'm talking about like private farms.
Sure.
Basically that like you it's kind of hard because you could do whatever you want with them, but it's up to you, the individual, about how you treat them.
But can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
In line with that? So, do you think there's like an ethical way? Because you said private, right? I mean, it's all about profit still, right? So do you think there's an ethical way to treat a sentient individual as just a means of profit for you? As like an object that you could trade and sell and...
Well, I'm not thinking in terms of profit. I'm thinking in terms of living. Like,
being healthy.
So you're saying that...
the way that everything is profitable in America sucks, and with the way that everything's made for easiest money and litters. But I'm talking about like if stuff ever goes downhill and
I'm not having like raising your own animals, not selling them, but raising them to eat. Okay. So I'll ask the same question. I'll ask the same question. Do you think there's an ethical way to raise an animal, right, a sentient individual, to then just slit their throat when you don't have to? Again, because we already established, like, obviously if we're talking about in times of necessity, I mean, who knows what I'll do, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, I just want to see, like, would you say that there is a moral or ethical way to, like, essentially, because animals can be compared to children, right? Innocent, they have similar intelligence, like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Do you think there's an ethical way to raise essentially a sentient child, and then even if you give them a great couple years, just slit their throat or bulk of them in the head?
Yeah. So, I mean, my answer is yes. Basically, like, bullet to the head. But I want to expand on that because that sounds bad. But, like, there was a whole plane crash that happened, right? And I forget what. It was a mountainy area. And there's a documentary about it and everything. And, like, 30 people all were surviving in the mountains with no contact of human resources and anything. And they all, like, I think it was like 10 to 30 days in, they all agreed about what the situation was to do, and they ended up eating the past bodies that went over, and that was one way that they survived, basically.
But when you're not in a survival situation, is a bolt gun to the head of any sentient individual, is that moral?
Well, in a source of food, when are we not in a survival situation?
When you have other forms of food. So, like, for example, Yeah, so but
like
that's
beans and everything.
yeah, but that's the situation we're in, right? So I'm talking about you guys, right? I'm not talking about some third world country.
Yeah.
Right? I'm talking about you guys, right? Because you're talking about, well, bulk into the head is ethical. If I like, that's like the best way to take someone out if you're gonna if you got to eat to survive. But when you have an alternative, right?
Yep.
So you have a cow here with a bolt gun.
Yeah.
Or you have a farm with soy or like a plate of rice or some rice and beans at the store, right?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a moral way to just bolt gun them in the head? Do you think it is moral to do that?
I think it's. I'm still gonna agree with that. It's. What is the term you use? Moral? Yeah. I think it is moral if you're actually, like, I feel wrong going out to eat and just eating mixed beef together. I still eat it, but I'm like, oh, this is terrible because I'm eating like what could be like 12 cows. But one thing is if I could live on my own and have a farm and everything, there's other uses to the animals besides killing them. Like, do you believe that like milking cows are bad?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, why is that?
So if you recall the definition of veganism, right? We reject the exploitation, right? So when you
for
breed,
profit?
not just profit. You're treating them as resources. So like, for example, imagine I'm going to put it in the human context so it makes sense. Imagine I bred a human, right, a female human into existence, waited till they were of age to produce milk, forcibly impregnated them, took their baby away, and then took their milk, right? So when you say like, oh, do you think milking a cow is bad? If we're not just going up and milking, they're not giving us their milk for us to take for them. That milk is meant for their baby.
Yeah.
Right? So when you say, oh, do you think milking a cow is bad? When you learn about everything that goes into it, they got to impregnate the cow. They got to take the baby away from the cow. Then they got to put it on.
Well, there's some of us that disagree with how they are raised. I disagree with how taking away the babies and everything.
But then how would we get the milk?
Well, the cow can supply more milk.
Not very much. Like there's a little bit extra, but really not much. But also, how does the cow produce that baby?
By sex with another cow.
Well, I see you think that, but actually every farmer there's no like natural mating. Every farmer forcibly.
That's not like natural. That's adding like too much for that's where all the farmers care about profit, and they're just like
I hear what you're saying, but that's like
the majority.
That's everything, right? That's literally, and what I'm trying to get at, right? Obviously, in a future ideal scenario where you have some kind of setup with backyard chickens, we can still have that conversation. But what I'm trying to understand is, what's stopping you from stopping your contribution to all of the exploitation and abuse, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's zoos?
I got the perfect answer in my head. The fact that if I stopped eating meat, I would also have to stop eating all sorts of vegetables and everything because the amount of pesticides they use on farms and everything kills even more smaller creatures.
Okay, would you have to stop driving as well? Would you have to stop living in your home as well?
No.
Okay, so human presence on the planet, driving your car, building homes, growing crops, they're all equal in terms of, yes, we do have a negative impact on whether it's environmentally, whether it's on other animals, but how does that justify intentionally breeding, exploiting, and then slitting the throat of animals?
It's not about that. Back to the topic about living in your home. Like, I get, like, you're talking on the aspect of getting resources for your home.
No, I'm talking about when the home was built. So when the home was built, they had to clear the land, they had to get all the animals out, or some animals died.
But you don't partake in slitting cow's throat to build a home.
No, I'm saying, you were saying that if you had to stop paying to have cows get their throats slit, you would have to stop eating vegetables. And what I'm saying is, by that logic, you'd have to stop living in a home. You'd have to stop driving cars, because it's all negative impact, but it's not treating animals like products. Sure, we do have a negative impact. I have a negative impact probably on some people by being alive, right? But that's not treating them as products. I still think we all deserve rights, and animals deserve rights as well.
Yeah, well, I understand that aspect.
Did you have a question?
Man, I had one.
Sorry.
Was it about the pesticides?
It was about the pesticides. So, like, if you were to say, like, I don't know, I don't want to look horrible.
No.
No, but so if you're growing, like, vegetables and stuff, either way, I know you said it's gonna, I don't know, they do what is it? Pesticides.
They spray them.
They spray them. Every grain now is sprayed with pesticides to remove. It is like I was watching like the food industry with the factories growing. Bless you. And every single grain, it's very rare now to find a grain that isn't sprayed with pesticides.
Sure, yeah.
And
It's like very proven that like it's insanely rare to find like a grain that's not sprayed.
We could agree they're all sprayed with pesticides. Yeah, that's fine.
Will kill whatever will eat it.
Sure.
Because the pesticides is made to kill like rabbits. Bless you.
Insects.
Rabbits and like smaller animals that have to feed on that to survive for them.
Sure. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that the fact that we use pesticides to protect our food supply to survive is somehow a justification to breed animals into existence just to slit their throat and eat their flesh when we don't have to?
That's all. No.
So, and if it's not a justification, then it's kind of irrelevant. Like, yeah, I wish we could find a better solution. Look, like, by all means, I'm not like, you know what, don't care about those animals because I'm vegan. No, of course, like, I wish we had a better solution where animals didn't have to be negatively affected, right?
Yeah. Either way, animals are going to be affected. Either way, though.
Well, yes, but animals are negatively affected on separate from what? No. It's not either or. Yeah, that's a false dichotomy. So it's not like we either have animal agriculture or we grow these crops and we build these homes and we drive these roads. We're growing these crops, building these homes, driving on roads. In addition to breeding cows, chickens, and pigs, fish into existence just to kill them.
Do you own like a dog or a cat or whatever?
No.
Because I would say that's like the same thing with owning a dog. Because people breed dogs to where their intestines
we're against breeding.
can't even hold.
Yeah, we're vegan.
Oh, so if you're a vegan, you don't like adopt like a dog.
Well,
or
no,
whatever?
adopt, don't shop. Yeah, we're super against breeding. I don't like the idea of owning an animal, so I don't have one.
Yeah.
But if you were going to, adopting would be the way to take them out of shelters before they're euthanized. But yeah, we would never want to pay breeders, right? So if we could talk about that. Yeah, so are you against breeding? Like dog breeding?
I would say so, just because of like, I don't know, like breed. I didn't really realize like vegan like is like.
It's not just food, it's not a diet, yeah.
Not just food. I didn't really realize that.
Add my input. Without breeding, we would have no population.
What do you mean? Dogs, you say?
Yeah.
That's fine.
So you want to erase the population of dogs on this earth that live a happily life?
Well, not erase the population. So like when we're talking about dog breeding, I know it's easy to look at like some dogs and say, oh, they live a good life. But like she was Haley, right?
Yeah.
Like Haley was saying, these dogs are genetically modified to have severe health problems, especially the ones that like people want the most, right? They develop cancers early, they have trouble breathing, they are very not functional, right? So to say that like, okay, the argument of, well, at least they exist, okay, but we would never accept that in the human context, right? Imagine if I, as a parent, said, oh, I'm just gonna modify my child and bring them to existence and treat them like, and make sure they have a ton of health issues and treat them horribly, but hey, at least they're existing. You know, would you accept that?
Well, all right, sorry.
Well, if they're already born, I would rather accept them.
If they're already born, we're talking about not continuing the breeding.
Okay,
Yeah. No, if they're already born, adopt, yeah.
I feel like that context gets into a lot of other, like, if you agree with that, then you have to go the same route with, like, all types of different politics, like abortion and everything else. And,
No, not necessarily. I mean, abortion's a little different.
Well, I'm saying, your argument is that animals deserve the same rights as humans in terms of living and being comfortable. I get that. No, they do. But on, sorry, I'm having a blank about where we were talking about before that.
Talking about, you said, would you rather them not exist?
Yes, dog breeds. I do agree that the ability to make a family happy with a dog and make the dog happy is like, it's the American dream, like to have a happy
sure,
dog.
but there are so many.
There's a proper way to breed them. If you know that they're genetically healthy, then you should be able to breed them, because it's not like they're gonna breed each other either way, because they're gonna want to like have sex with another dog to produce.
Can we put this in the human context for just 1 second, right?
Yeah.
Imagine there's an alien species who wants us as pets, okay? And they make sure that we're healthy, but they take male semen They inject it into a female human. They forcibly impregnate them. And then when their babies are born, they take their babies away and sell them off. That's what dog breeding is.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Is there a moral way to do that?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all with dog breeding. Like
That's what breeding is.
well, letting them be. Like if a dog loves another dog, and then you that's you know you.
But that's how. So that's not breed. That's like having two dogs mate. But when you're saying breeding, you said making a family happy. That family has to go and purchase that dog, right? It's not like there's some guy who's letting dogs mate naturally and then giving them away for free to loving homes. We're talking about a business. We're talking about like there's no way to put puppies and put animals into homes without profiting, without exploitation, right?
Yeah.
Because you're selling
It's
them.
fucked up,
Well,
but
my point is breeding. Like when you breed dogs, I mean, I've been around a couple breeders in my life, and they don't actually inject anything into the dog. You know what I mean?
What do they do?
They
they let the
they
male
have
have sex with the female.
with the litter of dogs that they have. They basically they keep them together, and hopefully they end up mating.
Okay, but what happens if they don't?
They don't breed.
Then they just well then they clearly are not like breed, or like they might breed, it might be like a hobby or something, but clearly it's not their business. Because if their business, they're gonna either inject the semen or have some way of putting them together. But regardless, right? What happens what happens when the puppies are born?
I mean, well, regardless of
how they're bred, what happens when the puppies are born?
their puppies, and yeah, they get sold off.
They
That's
get
your
sold
point.
off.
That's your point.
So,
Okay.
so you know, like we're taking a family. Not only we're creating a family, but then we're separating the family for our own selfish need to have a puppy in our home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also, I raised bunnies, and the mom bunny literally stomped out all the baby bunnies.
Yeah,
out of
animals do
nature.
fucked up shit. Yeah.
Out of nature.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like if you thought about it the other way around. If animals were able to speak a language that communicated with all each other and have a race that was superior in this world, do you not think that they would do the same with us?
Oh, they might, but I don't care if they do the same with us. That's like saying, well, if another race were in the same position, would they do the same with us? That's not a justification to continue doing it. You know, like you and I were both white, right? What if we were like, do you think that if another race were in the same position, they wouldn't do it to us? Yeah, we
No.
could use that argument, but that's silly.
I'm not saying anything with that. I'm just saying.
But that's the logic you use. You literally said you think that if animals could come up with a superior race, if they would do it to us. You literally used that logic.
Well, I think that there's a different barrier between animals and humans rather than the color of our skin between each other.
I'm just talking about the logic. I'm just talking about the logic. You said, like, if they were in the same position, wouldn't they do the same thing to us? I'm assuming the only reason why you brought that up is to somehow justify what we're doing. Otherwise, well, I don't know why you'd bring it up.
Well, I mean, to counter your point, that's all. Trying to.
Well, I appreciate you guys talking. I think we're dying down. What the rule of thumb that I always go with is if I'm trying to think about what's moral, I think about it, okay, what would I accept for myself and what do I accept for humans, right?
Yeah.
All of the scenarios, all of like the humane, the ethical scenarios you guys brought up, whether it's backyard farms, whether it's breeding puppies, all of it is incredibly fucked up the second you put it in the human species context. So why is it not fucked up when it comes to any other species, right? Because it's not their fault they were born as a pig. Right? It's not you didn't do anything to be born as a human. You won the lottery. We fucking won the lottery. Right? So when we're talking about, and you actually said earlier, you said animals deserve rights. You agreed with that. So why not be at the forefront of that and stop paying to have their rights violated? That's the question I'll leave you guys
Well,
with.
first thing, if we were won the lottery of being a human, I'd actually rather be a bird where I could fly.
Well, not a chicken though. God forbid you're born as a chicken bird, then you're fucked, huh?
Well, actually, my friend owns a lot of chickens, and I believe that they live the happiest life because they're free roam. They're able to.
Yeah.
They choose to come back every time.
Yeah. So maybe the 1% of the chickens on the planet, 1%. So if you're in that 1%, maybe. But again, I would still argue obviously there's a way to care for animals.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, abuse for animals is wrong in general. But honestly, like, I think I've seen in my life caretaking for animals in a proper way that it doesn't relevate to eating meat or anything. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. No, there are ways, like there's animal sanctuaries where they care for cows, chickens, pigs. There's ways to care for animals. The difference is the second that you treat them as products, oh, hey, you give me $10, I'll make sure that my cow produces milk to give to you. Or, hey, you give me $50, I'll kill my cow that I've been caring for 2 years to give you their flesh. The second that you treat them as products, it becomes immoral. Obviously, if you just wanted to take care of a cow in your backyard, that's one thing.
Yeah, it becomes immoral, but...
So don't contribute to it, man. I'll leave you guys with that. Like, if you recognize that's immoral, you don't need to contribute to it. And I have plenty of nutritional resources. I got recipes. I got everything on my website. I'll give you guys a card.
Yeah.
How
There's a
much
QR
budget
code.
we talking like a week for like grocery wise? You said 100.
Yeah, well, 100, and I don't cook. So with cook, when I cook, yeah,
So if you were to cook, like
I actually did.
only like for like a family. Like if we had a family and we're cooking for a family every day for the whole week, how much would you say the budget would be?
Well, I'll give you an example. So without cooking, because I do I'm on the go a lot. So without cooking, my grocery is anywhere between 80 and 120 a week, right? For me, right? But I'm a big guy, I buy a lot of stuff. When I was cooking, it was between $50 and $60 a week. So you take that, you times that by maybe 3.5 if you're talking about little kids, because they don't eat as much food. Very affordable, at least compared to what I've seen parents and families buy.
At like you're talking about like at a normal like grocery store.
Yeah, Market Basket, Stop and Shop, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I would like to say that if we were to become vegan, it's obviously just, I know it's gonna lessen our contribution to the whole entire idea, but it's still gonna happen at the end of the day.
Sure. Well, I mean, if everyone took that logic for everything, nothing would change, right?
Yeah, I
But
don't think a lot is really changing.
well, how do you think slavery got abolished?
Slavery is,
How do you think women got rights? Right?
Yeah.
Imagine if every woman who was going to stand up for women's rights, they said, well, we're still going to be abused anyway, at no point. Or every man who stood up for women's rights, well, they're still going to be abused by all the other men. I'm not going to say, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean? And separate from like, will it actually make a difference? It really comes down to your own personal values. Like for me, I don't want to contribute to the fucked up shit that happens to animals. I don't want to be part of the reason why they're abused, why their rights are violated, why they're being killed by the billions, trillions if you count fish. If that bothers you, that's why you should be vegan, you know what I mean?
no, I totally, completely understand.
One thing is too, with like the percentage of people that are actually vegan towards the people that are meat eaters in this world, don't you think if we just like where your context of like abolishing slavery and like everything, don't you think that would cause like world catastrophe if we took away?
No. So the only way animals are going to be given rights or like animal agriculture is going to be abolished is with enough support. So like nobody's going to put into law animals being given rights or without at least a large percentage of the population.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't make sense, right? You can't, if only 2% of the world is against something, they're not going to put that into the legal system.
No, I get it. I get it.
We need, like, once we get to a certain threshold, I don't know if it's 10%, 20%, 30% of the world, once we get to a certain threshold, things are going to move very quickly. But, and again, separate from all of that, who cares about all that? It's about personal values, right? It's about what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be the person that kind of knows it's fucked up, but is like, oh, I don't care today, man? Or do you want to be the person that, like, thinks about it and is like, wait a second, I'm actually going to align my actions with my values, right? Align my actions with my value for freedom, my value for personal liberty, etc. You know? But I'm good here. If you guys have anything to add, go for it.
I don't have anything to add right now, but I guarantee I'll think of more stuff later on.
Look, check out the website, man. Don't throw it away. I'm telling you.
It's all right. I love talking. It's fun. Happy 4th.
Yeah, you too.